All right, you guys ready for this? Sorry, I bumped it. This little dongle's a little finicky. Hold on. There we go. All right, well, good morning. We appreciate you all being here. It's our pleasure to have you here. How many of you are here for the first time? All right, that's a lot of you, and we saw that in registration. So welcome to SAINTCON. My name, I'm Troy. I go by Jupiter around the con and around the world. I'm the founder and CEO of the Utah Saint Organization, which is the governing body of this SAINTCON conference. And so it's my pleasure to introduce the conference this morning, provide you a little bit of orientation and things. And so first of all, what I wanted to do is just talk just a little bit briefly about the Utah Saint Organization. How many of you have not heard of that before? Okay, well, that's good. That means the word spreads and things. But the Utah Saint Organization is an organization of cybersecurity professionals around the state of Utah and now beyond. I mean, there's a lot of people that live outside of the state of Utah that are part of the Utah Saint Organization. We're going to leave Utah in the name because it's just that cool. There's about 511 members of the organization right now. And so these are the members that participate in various degrees of effort to provide benefit to the other members of the organization. And so what we do is a lot of different things to help each other. We provide security briefings and advice and network help and other things to each of the members. And so it's a really great community. But we're here to talk a little bit about SAINTCON. First and foremost, what I want you to understand is it takes a lot of effort to do something this big. The conference this year, we're very close to 1,000 attendees, which is blown way past our record projections or anything else. And so it's really quite incredible. And we've got a conference committee, and what I wanted to do is I want them to stand up real quick. If you're out there in the world, they're probably all down in registration. Here's Josh Galvez, James Pope. There's a bunch of others. This is the list of people that have come together to make this conference what it is. This might not be meaningful to you yet, but as you experience the conference throughout this week, you're going to find out how much planning and effort and time has gone into it. Wanted to just say that we start our meetings to plan this conference in March, and they're regular meetings. It's not like, hey, one meeting a month kind of thing. They're regular meetings to make sure that this conference goes off really well. One of the members of our committee is not here today. I got a slide for him. How many of you guys recognize Chunk? All right, well, he is unable to join us today, and so I figured I'd just spend just a moment and say he's done an incredible job helping. Those of you that are presenting know Chunk. He's probably called you 8 times, asking you for your slides and if everything's fine and everything else. But I want you to know that he was in an auto accident in the month of August, and he's now suffering from severe chronic back pain. He's unable to get out of his chair or move around very effectively, and so if you want to send him a message or something, he's going to be hanging out in Slack, and he's happy to interact with you, but he's going to have to do it from remote. But we miss him, and he's done an incredible job for us this year, even after the accident and even through all of the pain and other things that he's experiencing. He's been a stellar addition to our committee. Next, I just want to recognize our volunteers. We've got the most volunteers we've ever had. We're probably in the 55 to 60 range of volunteers assisting with the conference. There's a number of different things that happen behind the scenes that you probably will never even notice happen, and it's all because of the volunteers. And so I want to recognize them. Give them a round of applause, too. Next up, what I want to do is just take a moment and recognize some of our sponsors. This year, we've had an incredible year with support from our sponsors. This is why we can have nice things at SAINTCON. How many of you guys you probably haven't all built your badge yet, but how many of you guys are kind of excited about what you've got around your neck here? Pretty cool? Well, it's our sponsors that make things like that possible. I want to just say that the conference itself is a self-sustaining conference. It's a zero-based budget conference, which means that we charge you the amount of money that it costs us to run the conference and not have a lot of extra things. Okay, so it's the inclusion of our sponsors that make these things like the badge and other things possible. So we want to thank them. I've got a couple slides. These are our bronze sponsors. Up on the screen, we've got our silver sponsors. These guys all paid different levels of or different amounts of money to participate, or donated services like Comcast Business. They're the ones that are providing your network connection out to the internet while you're here. So when you're dealing with really fast internet, or slow, maybe, I don't know. With this many people, it might be a little slower than you might expect. But when you've got great network speeds at a big conference like this, Comcast is part of that process as well. Cisco has also brought in all of the access points that you see around here. We've flooded, as you can see, the entire conference venue with wireless access. You should have no problem connecting your devices, unless you start doing what Dark Matter's up here doing, which she'll talk about a little bit later. Just don't break it all. All right, and then our Uber sponsor is CompuNet. And they've built this monstrous booth downstairs. Maybe some of you have seen it already as you walk through there to go do Hardware Hacking Village. I encourage you to stop there, introduce yourselves to those guys. They are a wonderful set of people that do all sorts of things and can provide all sorts of help with network security. We've known them forever. They're part of the community. They're not just a vendor. We know these guys. They're part of our community. So they brought a lot of different things. They're also running the red versus blue competition. How many of you are here just for that? Some of you, right? Okay. Well, let me transition and just say that our conference, the SAINTCON conference, is a conference about cybersecurity. That's our mission. That's what we're here to do. We get together once a year, and we talk about all things security, and then you go back and you try and implement some of the things that were talked about. And hopefully you're successful in doing that. If you're not, there's a lot of other help that you can have or get from the Utah Saint organization. So that's why we're here. I failed to mention that Saint, in part of SAINTCON, for those of you first-timers, it's not that we think that we're a bunch of conceited Mormons here or anything like that. That was supposed to be funny. But no, SAINT is an acronym. It stands for the Security Advisory and Incident Network Team. And so it's a little play on words, or it's an acronym, but it's what we are. We're a group of security professionals making sure that we're doing good things for the community. All right, next up, I've got a couple of award announcements. So Josh Galvez is going to come up and take care of that. Prior to the conference, we had the Hackers Challenge, or the Pre-Con Hackers Challenge game. And so he's got a couple of awards and other things that he wants to talk about. And you have to get your
Pre-Con was a fun event. I really appreciate everybody playing. Can I see a number of hands on who played at least one challenge there? Yeah, there were a good at least 200 participants. I was way impressed. It was awesome. Hackers Challenge is a great event we do each year. I hope you all take a chance to participate and play. The URL is hackerschallenge.org. It can be found on the saintcon.org webpage. The winner for the Pre-Con this year was a gentleman known as Punk AB. He had the quickest solves and some of the creative answers. So congratulations. If he'll meet me off stage, I'll have a prize for him, a bonnet for his pie, and a Hackers Challenge mini badge.
Thanks, Josh. And congratulations to the winner there. All right, last thing I wanted to cover, so we'll just take just a few minutes, just a little bit of logistics, housekeeping, and other things. When you entered registration this year, you saw two options. How many of you guys made, or this made a positive difference, that you were able to kind of pick and choose? How many of you state folks kind of got squandered out of a meal because we did this? All right, we didn't know that was going to happen beforehand, and so we apologize. So here's the thing. What we did this year, every year, we try and make it as affordable and as easy as possible for people to attend the conference. And so we decided this year that we would take the cost of food and separate it from the ticket and allow you guys the option. And so one of the things that we did was sell those two types of tickets. Hopefully you're glad we gave you the option. We're rethinking some things based off of lessons learned this year. But we want to make sure that you understand that if you bought a meal ticket, lunch is provided for you here at the conference venue. If not, then there are a lot of restaurants down the street, right down here on Center Street and First South, or whatever it is over here, that way. There's some great restaurants over there that you can eat at that are relatively inexpensive. But those of you that do have meal tickets, those cups that we handed out to you, you're probably explained a little bit at registration. You have to use those cups in order to get the unlimited refill thing. It's a contract that we have with the venue. And so take those downstairs. At the first level in Expo A is our lunchroom / concession stand. You can go in there, you can get unlimited refills in that cup through the entire conference. And so take advantage of that. The other thing is that's where lunch will be served, is downstairs in that lunchroom, that Expo A. If it gets too full, there's also an extra line upstairs on the 3rd floor. And the vegan and specialized lunches are downstairs. So if you fit in that mold, please visit downstairs. One of the things that we're doing in conjunction with that is we're given an hour and a half for lunch, which is a long time, at least in our world, it seems. But that's going to give you ample time to go out, grab your lunches, and come back for those of you that are leaving the venue. But it's also going to give a lot of time for networking and exploring different parts of the conference. And so we encourage you to do that. We want you to get out and about, learn what's going on in that lockpick village thing if you've never been down there. If you don't know what a hardware hacking village is, go down there and talk to those guys and such. In fact, what we've done this year, I shouldn't say this too loud. Of course, I'm saying it to all 900 of you at this point, is we've actually bought a bunch of extra parts this year and put them in the hardware hacking village. And so if you have a creative project that you've thought up, like, man, if I could only do this, or if I wish I had the pieces and parts to do that, chances are we have the parts you might need to do that. If you go down and propose the project to the people in the hardware hacking village, they will give you free of cost the parts you need to make that project come to fruition. All right, so please explore the conference. There's tons of things to look at and be part of. And one of the last ways to mention here that you can do that is going out and joining the SAINTCON communications channel. We have a long tradition at SAINTCON of making sure that all of the attendees have a way to communicate with each other in a safe and effective way. And so what we've done is we've added a link out there at saintcon.org/comms, that's 2 M's, where you can go and you'll get an invite into the SAINTCOMS channel, or the SAINTCOMS Slack. And so we're using Slack this year. We didn't want to add everybody into the Utah Saints Slack because then we'd have to kick you all out because it's a privileged Slack, the channel or instance there. So please join. There's a lot of help in Hackers Challenge if you're playing that game, a lot of coordination updates and information that you can get, and talk with other people that have similar interests, of course. So the last thing that I've got here for my slides is to introduce our keynotes this morning. First up, we have Melanie Ensign. She is the security and privacy leader. I think that's what we call you, Melanie, right? The security and privacy leader for Uber, which is that rideshare program. It's not our Uber sponsor, but sorry, we did kind of clash the things there. But she's got a lot of experience in cybersecurity. She's done this for a long time. She's worked at companies like Facebook, Uber, and others. I'm not going to read your bio. Sorry, I'm just going to give kind of a cold introduction here. But we've known her for a long time. She's involved in the community. She's part of DEF CON. She's now an honorary member of SAINTCON, and so on and so forth. And so let's introduce Melanie Ensign. Come on up. You can take the stage and get hooked up.